Save yourself some time and just write fanboy in the comments section and leave right now. Because I know it's going to happen anyway. And I don't want you to feel like you have to sit through the entire video or, I don't know, hear me out before commenting, because a lot of you never do. I can't tell you the amount of comments saying, hey, you stupid, this means this. And if you watch the video, I very clearly say that. I just made a video about how I don't like restricted movement in shooters, how like you can't prone in Halo or jump in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and like somebody was like, well yeah, that's because it was designed that way. And in the fucking video, I say that yeah, changing the movement system of these games would break them in a lot of ways. I just prefer more human-based movement systems like proning and being able to actually jump, and also contextual leans are important for me. So I know there's a lot of people out there that don't actually listen to what I'm saying, or they don't watch the full video and they decide to comment. So just go ahead, call me a stupid, blinded Activision Call of Duty fanboy now and save yourself some goddamn time. Moving on to take up some of my goddamn time, I'm gonna talk about something that I've wanted to say for a while. I've said this on my channel in various ways, but I've never made a specific video about it, so I don't know how long this video is going to go on. Of course, you've clicked on it, you can see how long it is, and you'll decide whether or not it's worth it. It's been 1 minute and 30, fuck, I just need to say it. There's nothing wrong with Call of Duty. And some of you are gonna come at me with saying, oh, nothing's wrong with Call of Duty, huh? What about the spawns, the gun balance, the connection, the map design, and blah, blah, blah. You're gonna list off things that every shooter suffers from. No shooter has perfect connection, no shooter has perfect maps or weapon balance. Even some of my favorite games like Black Ops 1, Halo Reach, and Battlefield 4 have a fucking shit ton of problems, and I don't deny that. If you're gonna go down the route of describing every shooter while complaining about Call of Duty, then maybe ask yourself, do you dislike Call of Duty? Or do you dislike that you're not good at it? Or do you dislike that other people like it? Yep, I'm throwing the get good card out there. Isn't that fucking cute? It's not fun, is it? Maybe you're just bad at Call of Duty, or you got so good at it now you're bored. You fit into these 2 boxes, and now I don't have to argue with you. This is the best day ever. See how that looks? But still, it's, you know, it's worth asking. It's not really a good point, but it's worth asking. And for you people that I mentioned earlier, the ones that don't finish videos, I will get this out of the way quickly. Call of Duty has problems, Call of Duty has shitty business practices, and I do not like every Call of Duty on a base gameplay level. If I'm in the mood for a Twitch shooter, I can enjoy any Call of Duty really, you know, for a certain amount of time, to a certain extent. But there are some Call of Duty games I would not recommend to my friends, nor do I ask them to play them with me. But the idea that there's a problem with the core gameplay of Call of Duty is wrong. It's 100% wrong. I am now going to list off the reasons I have this opinion, and you are totally welcome to disagree with them. Disagree with 2 of them, disagree with all of them, that's fine, I don't care. Usually if I get a good counterpoint in my comment section, I write back a little fair enough and I send it off, and that's how I do things. But if you're gonna come at me like I'm chump change that just doesn't understand things, or you choose to categorize me instead of properly debating with me, I'm not gonna be interested. First things first, a big reason people say that Call of Duty is fundamentally flawed is I believe they're bored of it. I've said this a lot on my channel, so I'm gonna get this one out of the way quickly here. They're bored of Call of Duty because it's been out for fucking ever. Just starting back at Modern Warfare, that is 2007. We are now 11 years from 2007. World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, COD World War 2, and now Black Ops 4. That's a lot of fucking different shooters. But they all have one base. They are Twitch shooters. They are arena-style Twitch shooters. Sprinkle in there some RPG elements and some semblance of tactical teamwork elements and some gimmicks and some goofs, some gaffs, and some gadgets, you have all of the Call of Duty games. You see, as a fan of the franchise, I take a lot of problems with people just throwing out the entire franchise altogether or saying that it used to be good and now it's all shit. There's a lot of misconceptions and misinformation. There's a lot of people passing out big bottles of shiny blue haterade every time a new Call of Duty comes out. And it's frustrating because I think all of them have merits even if I don't like them. I think playing World at War or Call of Duty 4 on a console is garbage. I think Modern Warfare 2 is way way too reliant on nostalgia goggles and is one of the most unbalanced experiences I've ever had. It's fun, but Jesus Christ, it's one of the most frustrating, broken games I've ever played. And Black Ops 1 is one of the least optimized games I've ever played, but it deserves credit for being ahead of its time. Modern Warfare 3 tried to capitalize on Modern Warfare 2, but I think its biggest problem was maps and spawns. It didn't have any memorable, super cool maps like Modern Warfare 2 did. Modern Warfare 2 had interesting maps with character, Modern Warfare 3 blah 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 blah. If you look at them like that, I think it's more interesting than just, the old ones were good, the new ones are bad. Fuck off. People think Black Ops 2 is the last good Call of Duty. God damn it. How? How is that the last good Call of Duty? You know how many problems that game has? Oh, but it's fun. Fun to you. What about fun to your neighbor? Fun for your friend? Fun for your grandmother? Is it fun for everyone? Does it work as well as other games do? Is it perfectly balanced? Is it replayable? Is it that interesting? Does it force engagements, making the gameplay feel really repetitive after long gameplay sessions? These are things I think about. I'm not saying any of those things are true, I'm just saying that's what I think about. And if you're thinking to yourself, no Boom, of course Black Ops 2 isn't perfect, no game is perfect, then yeah, you're on the right track about how I feel about Call of Duty. You're keeping up and you might not even realize it. My point I'm trying to make is that when people avoid all of that, they don't think that way, they don't look at things that way, they just say, well, the new ones are all bad. I'm sorry, you just sound bored. It's like nobody wants to admit that they get bored of Battlefield, or can get bored of Rainbow Six Siege, or GTA 5, or Tekken. They don't want to admit that they get bored of anything, and so the games are just bad. It's like, I understand the wanting to want syndrome that a lot of gamers get into. Everyone's experienced this. You want to play that game. You don't want to play it, you wish you did. You wish you wanted to play Call of Duty. You wish you did, and that's a frustrating feeling. You wish you wanted to buy that thing you used to buy. You wish you wanted to play that thing you used to play. You wish you liked that person you used to like. But when you can't do that, it's frustrating, so you just say that they're bad. Oh, I wish I really, could be friends with this person. They suck. Do they? Maybe they just changed or you did. But I don't know. It's just kind of hard to throw the baby out with the bathwater and then some other bathwater that wasn't being used by said baby and just go ahead and throw that out too. I don't know if that's the most good thing to do. That leads me to my next point, and that is that Call of Duty is a Twitch arena shooter. If you don't want to play a Twitch arena shooter, something that's a little bit more simple, a little bit more rooty-tooty, point-and-shooty, its objective work is more simple, its time to kill is quicker, a little bit more palatable, easy to kill, easy to die, the whole skill gap is about staying alive, if that's what you're not in the mood for, then you're not in the mood for it. I don't know why you have to go on a tirade talking about why every other type of game is always better all the time. That doesn't make any goddamn sense, that's not productive. Okay, you're not in the mood for Call of Duty's gameplay. That means Battlefield's better? Maybe not. What if I'm not in the mood to fight tanks? What if I'm not in the mood for, bullet travel time? What if I'm not in the mood for the way Battlefield feels, or sounds, or smells? What if I want something that's a little bit more laid back, easier to play solo, and a bit more grindy? Then what do? You're gonna tell me that Battlefield's better for everything or for everybody? That's just not true, that's just not possible, and that goes double, triple, quadruple for Destiny, Halo, Titanfall, Battlefront, Doom, Quake, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, CSGO. If you don't want to admit that Call of Duty is a direct competitor with all of those games, that's fine. I guess it would depend on your region and platform, but still, it is a direct competitor. Some people describe Call of Duty as mindless fun, and the people that I've seen describe it as mindless fun are the people that do not do very well at it. Call of Duty does take a lot of game sense, confidence, fearlessness, map awareness, stat awareness is also really important because you want to know what the hell your attachments and perks are doing. I don't know, being a fearless gunfight winner that goes on long streaks is very satisfying, and the people that never experience that are probably the ones that think, oh well, this is just dumb fun. And certainly it can be, but my god, I would say Battlefield 4 is way more guilty of being just dumb fun because of the amount of times I launched my friends into the air with C4 and motorcycles on Silk Road. And if it seems like I'm projecting onto Battlefield, it's just an example. It's my go-to example because of how those games always seem to be at each other's throats, and the communities go double for that. The fact that people don't look at Call of Duty as a type of game bothers me. Call of Duty delivers a type of experience in the shooter genre that other games don't deliver quite as well, quite as seamlessly, and I'm sorry. Titanfall 2 is fun, but it turned a lot of people away with just not feeling as tight as Call of Duty. It was tight, it was intuitive, it was fun, but it just doesn't feel quite as good somehow. It's not as large scale and sandboxy as Battlefield, but it's not as in-frame, tight, and consistent as Call of Duty. And so it left a lot of people leaving. If you want to stand up for Titanfall 2, go for it, but all I'll do is reply with a picture of the current player numbers and it'll show that people just don't like it. Sorry, when your game barely has 1,000 people online, maybe people just don't like it. And when I say people, I'm referring to the average person that buys video games, not your favorite YouTubers, not your friends, not reviewers. Maybe just the average gamer doesn't want to play Titanfall. It's something to think about. I personally love it, even though I feel like it does what Call of Duty does a little worse and what Battlefield does a little worse, but it is unique and it is a lot of fun. And that's honestly the problem Titanfall fell into, is that it's not as sandboxy as Battlefield and it's not as consistent and tightly woven as Call of Duty. You don't realize until you play a lot of other shooters that Call of Duty really nails combat in a frame. Rainbow Six Siege and Counter-Strike and Overwatch do this really well as well. Your games never feel kind of weird, empty, or random. Maybe on a couple of maps you'd have a varying level of experience, but for the most part, Call of Duty does a really good job of keeping you in the action and having a nice pace to the game. And then of course, Call of Duty feels silky smooth. A big reason that this rant is on the tip of my tongue about 9 out of 10 days is that I have seen people try to tear apart Call of Duty. A lot of people, hundreds of people, but they're never able to properly do it. And sometimes the way that they tear down Call of Duty is they just describe what it is, which is really weak analysis. Oh, the kill times are too fast, and sometimes you shoot and die first. It's like, yeah, that's every shooter, and it's a Twitch shooter, so it has the characteristics of a Twitch shooter, and it's an online game, so it's not perfect. That's another problem, I guess, is, all those comments saying, oh, it's filled with campers and lag. Yeah. People that write that, I feel like they're the kind of people that only play NBA and NFL games, and then they play Call of Duty occasionally. Say, oh, it lags, and they're like playing in their living room, like ignoring their newborn child while trying to just get a UAV, and they're on Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, this is getting a little bit too mean, but good God. And when it comes to the connection in Call of Duty, I really don't want to hear, jokes aside, I don't want to hear about your complaints if you play on wireless. I'm sorry, Call of Duty is about millimeters and milliseconds, and if you can't adjust for the milliseconds and your aim isn't good enough for the millimeters, you're gonna have a bad time. The game is very ruthless. The game is very difficult to play, in my opinion, casually, because if you go into an online match, just team deathmatch in any Call of Duty, not being fast, not being accurate, you won't win games. You won't do very well at all. Even when using the most overpowered gun, you still need to be quick, you need to aim, you need to have map awareness, some sort of confidence so that you actually are able to be aggressive in the right areas, and some knowledge, map knowledge so you know when to hang back. And it's a shooter that has its own set of skills, and that's the problem. Nobody wants to talk about it like it's a first-person shooter with its own set of skills that might not be for everyone. My Twitter bio says, if you cannot argue with me, categorize me, and I feel like that's what people do with Call of Duty. They categorize it as casual, easy, laggy, repetitive, stupid. But yeah, I could categorize it as those things, I guess. I wouldn't be too wrong on most of those, actually, but the problem is what about every other shooter? If you can't ask yourself, wait, does Battlefield lag? Do I lose gunfights I should have won because of connection in Battlefield? Does Halo maybe have some shady business practices? Maybe Call of Duty isn't perfect. I'd be the first one to admit it. The amount of times I have torn Call of Duty a new one on this channel, it's getting a little old. But the reason I'm willing to stand up for it is because I honestly don't see it as doing anything that evil compared to other companies, other games, other franchises, whatever you want to say. It's not doing anything that's abhorrent. And when we're talking about the base gameplay, I'm sorry. If you are not in the mood for a Twitch shooter, then don't play it. Don't play one. Don't play a Twitch shooter. Play something slower and more tactical. Play something more team-based. Play something larger scale or more sandboxy. Go play a milsim. Go play Arma or Squad. go do something else. I really hate the if you don't like it, don't play it argument, because it's just lazy. It's what people say when they can't defend the thing they like. But I will say, if your problem with Call of Duty is the game itself, then the game itself is not for you. The problem is not with Call of Duty. You just don't fit the demographic. You are not the type of player it's looking for. And believe me, I could do a whole video on the type of players that Call of Duty goes after and how they irritate the hell out of me. But that doesn't keep me from enjoying the game for my own reasons. Not everything's for everybody. There isn't a better game. There are games you're going to be more in the mood for, and there are games you're not going to want to play. And so, that's the end of this video. There's nothing wrong with Call of Duty. And I disagree with a lot of Activision's business practices, and I disagree with how some of the development teams deal with handing out post-launch content. Whether that's Activision's fault or not, the result is the same and it's frustrating as hell. I won't deny that. But I also won't say that other games are perfect at it. Titanfall 2 and Battlefront 2 have free DLC, and they're like a games as services type of thing. But I don't care. It's not good, in my opinion. It's not fucking good. And you want to talk about bad business practices? Look at how hard it is and how expensive it is for a new player to get into Rainbow Six Siege for the first time. So many strategies left unplayable by people that just aren't allowed to play with certain operators. And you will die by operators that have, frankly, more lethal and more interesting abilities than you do, while you struggle to deal with the fact that you die in one headshot. So, you want to talk about shady business practices? Look at Rainbow Six Siege, look at Battlefront 2 for God's sake. I mean, I don't honestly think it was pay to win, but it's like, oh, the DLCs are free. Yeah, all 2 of them, like, who cares? So this video's in defense of Call of Duty. If you stayed till this point, right, well, what's near me? My Starscream action figure. Starscream. Right, Starscream if you made it to this point in the video. That is S-T-A-R Scream. And I will see you guys when I see you guys, and in the next video that people will misinterpret, only watch half of, and get super fucking pissed at. See you when I see you. Goodbye.